Shalom, shalom, Hebrews. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. I was on the subject in the last video, about, the belief in Almighty Yah and, and so forth, and how the religions come about because, the broken covenant. I want to go into this in a little more detail. The prophet Abraham, the Abrahamic religions would be seen as not real. What is an Abrahamic religion? What is an Abrahamic religion, and how did it come about? It's supposed to be, the representation of these images, these symbols right here represent the Abrahamic religion. And we Hebrew Israelites, we got to put all this stuff under microscope. Is it good for us Israelites? Any of these religions, we're going to, try to get understanding that, what these religions come about. And we ain't got to go into no scientific detail. We can look in our history and get an understanding. Alright? The Abrahamic religions will be seen as not real when we Israelites come into heritage. Billions of people's fate is at stake, so they are doing their best to keep us away and out. How long can they do that? Now, that's the main, question. If we come into our Israelite heritage like we doing, how much time do these Abrahamic religions have? Are they blessed or are they cursed? I think they are a curse to the earth because, those religions, man, if you look at their history, man, they've been bloody and they've been fighting. They've been fighting for land, and they mostly been fighting for the promised land, the land that we Israelites abandoned during what's called the Babylonian Wars when we went into Africa, man, to do the Egyptian religion, and then all those peoples that we left in our land that didn't run off, that was kin to the people that was chasing us out. Man, they developed all type of false history that would lead men to these religions, the Abrahamic religions. But, first thing we need to understand is, did Prophet Abraham endorse any of these religions? Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. This one right here is going to be, that's going to be Judaism. That's going to be Judaism. That's going to be Islam. And that's going to be Christianity. And I show that our ancestors didn't create the religion Judaism, and that how that, once the covenant was broken, that's what everything that the Creator prescribed in the Torah for the Israelites to do upon exiting Egypt. The covenant and the rituals that we was given, the priests and so forth, and that once that was broken and we was kicked out the land, that it would cause for a new covenant, and that the people who we abandoned our heritage to created a religion off of our broken covenant and history, and that led to Christianity, because they say that Christianity is a continuation of Judaism, in the sense, and that it's the same history, but the only thing that it differentiates is that they say that the Messiah, a Messiah came, and a Godson came, and that he was Yah and the Son and the Spirit, all this incorporated into one, and that how it's no need for the the old covenant that we Israelites broke. They don't even mention that the Israelites broke the covenant and went into Africa to do Egyptian religion. Christianity don't, and that they believe that this God's Son come to save the world if you believe in Him and trust in Him and so forth, and that He died for everybody's sins, and that you don't have to worry about sins no more, even though the other nations were not obligated by the covenant that the Israelites had, and that the Israelites were supposed to be a priestly nation to influence them into coming into Yah worship. But they say a God's Son came about, and that He changed the whole order of things up. Now, this is nowhere found in the Israelite history that this would happen, because we had prophets that would give us warnings and tell us things in the future, and they never mentioned a God's Son coming to save us and or undo everything the covenant that the Israelites broke was based on. Now this new religion pop up 500 years after the Tanakh closed. The history that we put together, our ancestor Ezra put together. I got a book, a video, what I'm saying, based on the subject, and then how did he put everything together and chronicalized our history and how we Israelites should view it, even though, it fell into a lot of people's hands, a lot of nations' hands after the exiles were destroyed, and that the Greeks took our history and changed it and gave folks that wasn't supposed to have, and then we were supposed to identify different names and just change the whole history up, and they made this God's Son, and He's supposed to redeem you from your sins, and the Israelites don't have to worry about nothing as long as they believe in Him, that they can stay in sin and stay wicked and do all kind of stuff, and they can die in their wickedness, and everything will be all right long as you believe in this God's Son that came 500 years after the Tanakh history closed. 500 years is a long time. It's a long time. And then they come with this God's Son that saved. And this God's Son history or information is not in the Israelites' history and how they should view their history, and that the Greek version, meaning they change verses around to give you the impression that it support demigod worship. I think I did in one of the videos showing that all the prophecies after 931 BCE that they was looking for a Messiah to come clean up that Egyptian and Canaanite culture that was in the promised land, and it came about by King Josiah, and how he was a prophecy king to clean up the land, and he did it. And that how that they would take his prophecies before then and then turn it into like a God's Son coming to save and so forth. Man, they did all kind of stuff with our history. The the so-called Christian scribes and the people that govern the Christian history. That's like in the book of Zechariah. In the book of Zechariah, where it talk about the pale horse, and the red horse, and the mixed horse and the black horse and so forth, going throughout the earth, doing the will of Almighty Yah, and then how did Christians, them Christians done took that story. You see, Israelites don't know that our heritage fell into the hands of Edomites, and that the Edomites would take our prophecies in the Torah and Tanakh and turn it into prophecies from their interpretations, and then the Christians would get it, and then the Christians who thought the Edomites were holy would take their history and their prophecies and turn it into prophecies, and you get one of those in the book of Revelations when they talk about the flying horses, the red horse and the pale horse and all that old stuff. Well, that stuff come from the book of Zechariah that was written in 520 BCE, and then they put another spin in how that whole horse story and the ideology and the foundation of the thought gonna come from the book of Zechariah, being that the Tanakh was out 500 years before they constructed the New Testament, and that's all they had to read. So you'll find a whole lot of stories in the New Testament, that's similar to the stories in the Tanakh. Is because the people in the New Testament era was studying the Greek versions, the Septuagint, and so forth. They didn't have a full press, man, until later on, but that they, passed the word down that they had, gathered through translations to their people and so forth. Now, this religion right here, Islam, it come about because it's supposed to be straightening the people of the book. The people of the book. And then this is what's tricky about Islam, is that Islam see the Sebhardis, the Sebharidim, the Masorite Jews as Israelites, the ones with pigmentation, are the Edomite Jews. And I show in history that the Edomites, man, they was full-fledged all the way into the Israelites' heritage when 130 BCE come about. And this is like, man, a while, man, 100 and almost 150 years, man, before Christianity was created, that the peoples converted to Judaism, and then that they looked at like the Arab stock, and then that they would view the Sephardists as Israelites. They would think that the Sephardists is Israelites, and I'm gonna try to get a picture, image, man, of them, so y'all can kind of like understand. I think I done showed some images of them, man, before, but let's see if we can pull them up again. Wow, what do you know? We got it right here. See, they would have pigmentation, and them the ones the Israelites get confused by whenever they see them around the world. In North Africa, they was in Spain and so forth, and they was everywhere. And the Israelites say, "Oh, them us, that's our people," and so forth. And that how Israelites are confused and think that the Caucasians are Edomites, not knowing that the Caucasians are the Japhet and Cain stock and so forth. All right. Islam was created because it say that the people of the book had, didn't do right or wasn't right, and that the Creator gave them revelations, their leader Muhammad revelations, and then he go off to create this religion based upon sayings from some angels and so forth, and that how that it's supposed to be a better version than Christianity, in Judaism and how this is supposed to be the correct way. Now, people ain't understanding that Judaism, Christianity, and Islam come off the Israelites' broken covenant, and that the Creator didn't endorse none of these religions, and that all these religions foundation is created off falsehood because the Israelites abandoned our covenant meant to these folks during the Babylonian Wars. And that those folks created a history, those folks created a history and was living and viewed as Israelites for a long time, but they were not Israelites. And then all the history and religious texts that they created is void and no good, and that's gonna be everything that you have about Israelite history up to now, that the Israelites are putting information out. And then you got to watch out for some of the Israelites information, because those Israelites are using the people's history that created Judaism. And it's gonna be these folks right here. You know, Ashkenazi played a part in the creation of Judaism too, but Judaism was so handedly created by them folks. Them folks right there from Sepharavim. You know, they were scribes, and they was placed in our land in 722 BCE. And then they was in our heritage as Amorites. And then after we got kicked out the land, they would go off, man, to create a religion that they called Judaism off the Israelite heritage. And we couldn't do nothing about that because we Israelites had broken the covenant and went into Africa to do the Egyptian religion, and we didn't care what the peoples did with the covenant that we didn't want to do. Yeah, we didn't want to do the covenant, and I got plenty of videos about how we broke the covenant and how we was tricked out the covenant, and how did we prefer the Egyptian religion, how we preferred Egyptian religion. And then when we broke the covenant, not knowing that there's two groups of peoples that's trying to acquire and absorb the Israelite heritage, were the Sephardics and Ashkenazi. You know, Ashkenazi come into our land under the name Scythian, and they've been fighting Ashkenazi come into our land under the name Scythian with the Chaldeans when they destroyed Nineveh in 612 BCE, and then they come to us, and then they chased us into Africa for saying we want to do Egyptian religion, and they were settled in Scythopolis. They were settled in Scythopolis, and they would help create Christianity. They would help create Christianity. They would help create Christianity. This is them. That's them shooting us and shooting the land up and sending us into Africa during the Babylonian Wars. And they still finding arrows today, but they were settled in our land. They were settled in our land and stay. And we Israelites were so dumb that we chose to go do the Egyptian religion, not understanding the consequences of our actions, not knowing that it's going to lead to slavery, leave us took into a strange land with our heritage blotted out, and then we got to fight to come back into our heritage that people haven't been seeing us as Israelites for thousands of years, because we abandoned the covenant thousands of years ago. It took a little while for the punishment to catch up with us, but we've been in bondage for 400 years now. But we roamed around Africa for a good little while thinking to escape prophecy, and we was captured and brung to the Americas on slave ships, just like the curses in the Tanakh prophecies calls for. All right, well, Ashkenazi settled in Scythopolis. They was with the Babylonians. They chased us into Africa, and this is some of the spots. Man, they shot up with arrows, getting us up off the land and so forth. And then they would later on help create Christianity. They would later on help create Christianity. If you Israelites would ever Google Scythopolis and then put up Catholic bishops and so forth, you'll see that Scythopolis, they had a council in the meeting there way before the Council of Nicaea, which they say sanctioned Christianity, but how that it was kind of like created here and so forth. The first seeds was here. You know what I'm saying? They had a seeds in Scythopolis. That's the whole might and force of the Catholic Church back then, and they was powerful. Man, the most powerful entity, man, on this earth at one time. And Ashkenazi was secretly leading it and so forth. That's why Christianity view peoples from up here as the Israelites and kindred of the Israelites, because Ashkenazi settled in our land, and then he would go back to his lands as Israelites and live in these different parts, especially Britain and all Germany and all forth, and have a Israelite heritage up there that they would take and function with it and so forth in the north. And that's why peoples in the north in Christianity view Ashkenazi as Israelites, whereas the peoples in the south down here in Africa and in the east and so forth, view the Sephardists as Israelites and so forth. But they view these folks as Israelites, and some of them would look like Indians, Chinese, and Malaysians, because they converted and lived there among the population, and then grew a sizable population from converting and so forth. All right, so they would represent Judaism, and they got pigmentation. All right, Islam would see the peoples of the book as pigmented peoples and so forth, and Christianity will see the peoples in the book as Caucasians, because Ashkenazi settled in our land during the Babylonian Wars and took on the Israelite heritage. Look, none of this would be understood on planet Earth if it wasn't for the Tanakh and the book of Jeremiah, specifically explaining how the Israelites chose Egyptian religion. That's what the whole book is about. It breaks it down to how sinful we was, and then how we eventually, got chased off the land. All right, Israelites. Now let's get into this this Abrahamic religion ruckus. This Abrahamic religion ruckus. Look, I just wanted to read this too. How Ashkenazi took over Judaism from the Sephardists. Look, the Sephardic idea has always been understood in terms of political moderation and community unity. Rarely did Sephardim lose their internal cohesion. That is, until the process of cultural erosion set in following the Ashkenazi lead. Sephardim abandoned their traditional culture and adapted to the fractious Ashkenazi model under the rubric of a single Jewish nation. The Sephardi particularity with its culture, genius, and sophisticated social morals has become a lost value. Ashkenazi took over and been in control since Christianity been a dominant force. It was the Christianity that got the Ashkenazi into the promised land and got a hold of the promised land. Well, Islam is backed by the Sephardists. Now, it's a fraction of Islam. I think some of the Sunnis that collaborate with Ashkenazi, and you see that going on in Syria right now. All right, but the Ashkenazi see the Sephardim, the peoples with pigmentation and so forth, or look somewhat like them as Israelites and so forth. And those two religions were created for proxy wars, and millions of folks lost their life believing in them and fooling with them. That's why I made a video and explaining that that an Israelite shouldn't believe in religion, no people's religion or gods and so forth, because any belief in any religious system outside what Prophet Abraham endorsed or the covenant that was given to us Israelites, then man, you cannot worship it as Israelites, because the serpent created worship. All worship outside of what Prophet Abraham was given gonna be serpent related or serpent created religion disguised as a, a, a religion related to God or so forth, But I can show that it's easily not, and then I can show that people on the face of the earth worship Yah all over the earth, and then something happened. Man, the serpent who caused disobedience in the garden, uh, uh, descendants was around, the Nephilims, and then they gonna create religion that's not Yah, but can fool the people into believing. And then they religions teach that, men, it's okay to be wicked and that it'll be alright. Your wickedness is sanctioned and so forth, and that you can do it. And don't worry about nothing long as you believe in the way that they believe. But I want to go, man, to the covenant, that was given to Prophet Abraham. But first, let's establish this, is that our fathers left some history in Genesis. Genesis gonna be, the history where, everybody worship, man, the creator. Everybody worship, man, man, the creator, man, to something happened. Something happened to him, and then that'll be that flood got the non-believers, the ones that didn't want to submit to the Creator's will, and that, after that, they was still around, and that disbelief is over into the earth now from back then. All right, our mama Eve, our mother Eve, meant to show you that it's another entity that will want you not to believe and follow the instructions of Yah. That's all these religions, man. Basically, man, they try to keep you from following the instructions of Yah, is that the Israelites were the priestly nation and still gonna be a priestly nation. All right, look. Now the serpent was more suitable than any beast of the field which the Elohim had made. And that old serpent and stuff. And and he said unto the woman, yeah, had Yah said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the tree of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Yah had said, ye shall not eat of it, and neither shall you touch it, lest ye die. I believe that's the first intoxicating plant. Got to be an intoxicating plant, because they done lost their way, and a lot of wickedness is done when people are under the influence. So the serpent gonna be leading, the the ways to be up under the influence to take you out of the thought of the Creator and so forth, lower your will and so forth. So, but it says for y'all do it to know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and ye shall see as gods, knowing good and evil. You know, and you know the peoples right now today don't know the difference between really good and evil, and evil is seen as good and good is seen as evil, and we see that in the media and so forth, in the movies and so forth, how they try to portray wickedness as being okay. We live among peoples that's trying to change the natural order of men and women and so forth, and trying to make it seem like it's alright. Alright, the serpent job, was to he, misled our mother, and then if you believe in him in the way that he wanted, our mother and father Adam and Eve to function, that man, that it was a disaster would be on them. And then that's the same way that these religions, because they take you away from, the real creator, and you believe in eight gods and so forth, especially those Eastern gods. All right. Prophet Abraham. Let's show that these religions are not endorsed by Prophet Abraham, and that Prophet Abraham's covenant would extend down to his son Isaac, and not Ishmael. Isaac, and then from Isaac, the covenant would go to Jacob and his uh, 12 sons, when our father name was changed to Israel, like our father Isaac was. The prophet Abraham was told to name his son Isaac before he was born. So Almighty Yah is establishing his covenant with the names and so forth that he's given to his prophets, children. Man, that's establishing his covenant right there when he get him the name change and so forth. You know, when he changed their name, or give them, or give them a name. Man, let's see if I can hunt this down real quick. See if I can find that where the Creator told our mother that, Isaac would be born, and to name him Isaac. Alright. Alright, but when you go to Genesis 17, and then you get to 19. And Yah said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. You see how he was given the name change? Alright. Now watch this. Our father Jacob was given a name change, and our father Abraham was given a name change first. He was given the name change first, and man, the Creator was with him. The Creator was with him. Man, the Creator was with him. Because of the name change, he establishing his covenant with the name change. Look, all right. This is Genesis 32. All right, and I ain't gonna read all of it. And it took them and sent them over the brook and over, and Jacob was left alone. And there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and hollowed Jacob's thigh was and he said, Let me go. And he said unto him, What is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. See, you see, this is why, because Almighty Yah ain't came and named somebody else to have another covenant with them, is that the covenant still with us, because we are the Israelites. Look, and he said, that name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel, for as a prince has thou power with Yah and with man, and has prevailed. See, he didn't change Edom name. The Creator didn't change Esau name to Edom, but that was given to him by the people. But you see, our father, our father, Isaac was given the name before he was born, and then our father Jacob was given the name by the Creator and changed to Israel, like our father before him, his great his grandfather Abraham uh, uh, had got the name changed first, which the Creator showing his covenant with him. When he get your name changed, look, and there come one that had escaped unto Abraham the Hebrew. All right, and as you go down, let me see. And Abraham, look, and there are these things. All right. All right. So after the slaughter of those Asian folks, them folks that came to put them Amorites under yoke. Prophet Abraham freed them, and he had to align himself with them Amorites because he was in their land, and he helped them a little bit. But it was one amongst the Amorites named Melchizedek that was a priest of the Most High, and he wasn't an Israelite, and he believed in the Creator. See, it was about the belief in Yah, and everything outside that was false. But you had other folks that wasn't Israelites believing in Almighty Yah, and I'm gonna show you that. So it's that the Abrahamic religion should be just based on belief in Yah alone. But you have these religions got God's sons and prophets that the Creator didn't name change and all kind of old stuff. But look, neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be called Abraham, for a father of many nations have I made thee. So the Creator done changed prophet Abraham's name, and then told him to name his son Isaac. And then when Isaac have children, one of his sons, Jacob, the Creator changed his name to Israel. So the Creator establishing his covenant from generation, many generation, and so forth. All right, we know that prophet Abraham purpose and why the Creator chose him is, like I say, that it was disbelief on the earth, and that disbelief gonna come with the Canaanite culture and so forth. And that the Canaanite culture, if you read the Torah and Tanakh history, that the Canaanite culture was aligned with the Nephilim culture, or the Nephilims, and those gonna be the peoples that disagreed or try to sabotage Almighty Yah's work on earth, as shown what the serpent did with our mother in the garden, creating disbelief. See, disbelief come from the serpent. So when you don't believe in Almighty Yah, the serpent done did his job and got you disbelieving. And then he gonna have you disbelieving through these religions right there. You know what I'm saying? Through them religions right there. Yeah, you might be wealthy and got a lot of money and so forth, but is you really blessed? You know, we can have, uh, all kind of wealth and so forth, and live prosperous materially. The folks in the Bible uh, uh, that the Israelites was against live prosperly and wealthy, believing in the gods that they believe in, but judgment come down on them. Judgment come down on them. All right, look, the prophet Abraham uh, uh, job. I'm gonna read it from the Tanakh. Was belief. Prophet Abraham believed in the Creator. And then that's what uh, uh, put him on, because during his time there was a lot of disbelief, and the disbelief is gonna be the peoples that that followed the serpent culture or believed in religions. you know all right, so when you get to Genesis 15, all right, then it says, sometime later the word of the Elohim came to Abraham, a vision he had. Fear not, Abraham, I am a shield to you. Your renewed your reward shall be very great. But Abraham said, O Elohim Yah, what can you give me, seeing that I should die childless, and the one in charge of my household is a Damascus, Eleazar. And Abram said, Father, since you have granted me no offspring, my steward shall be my heir. All right, so we know that Isaac, he told her Isaac will be born and so forth. And that prophet Abraham covenant with the Creator, showing his belief, was circumcision. And everybody that the prophet Abraham that they come up under his control had to be circumcised, and they was circumcised, and how that was supposed to be an everlasting covenant. And we know today that they circumcise us, in the hospitals, and that's the natural health procedure and so forth, and that the Israelites were required, to do that. But the bottom line is that, man, if you go cut your penis or anything to do with that back then, man, that's just something you just didn't do. So he had to be a believer. Man, he had to be a believer in the Creator, man, to go mess with his penis and so forth and shave some flesh off of it. And man, that showed Prophet Abraham worthiness, because he done took his penis and then shaved some skin off of it, old as he was, and that could have took him on out. But the Creator, blessed him, and then that's where his blessings would come from, his growings, you know what I'm saying, and his seed and so forth. And Prophet Abraham did what he was told, and then how the circumcision was part of our heritage. And then Ishmael was born, but how Prophet Abraham wanted Ishmael to be his inheritor, but the Creator wanted Prophet Abraham to have an inheritor from his Hebrew stock, his Hebrew stock. And our mother Sarah, man, fulfilled that with Isaac and so forth. But you see how he believed in the Creator, man, by just shaving his penis back then was a real serious thing. And then to be able to get your servants and slaves and so forth to do the same thing, man, that's something serious. Look, then Abraham took his son and all his homeborn slaves and all those he had brought, every male in Abraham's household, and he circumcised the flesh of their foreskins on that very day, and as Yah had spoke to him. And Abraham was 99 years old when he circumcised the flesh of his foreskin. Man, that's something serious. Pinch, if you a man now and you pinch your foreskin anywhere, you already know the pain that you're going to feel. So just imagine it cutting it, and they didn't have no anesthetic or no painkillers and so forth. So he had to be a believer. He had to be a believer, man, to do that. And Prophet Abraham did it. Now, but to show you that it was some other believers too, that it just wasn't Prophet Abraham, and that how believing in Almighty Yah is essential for life as the individuals knew it back then. We're gonna go to Melchizedek. That's Genesis. Man, that'd be Genesis 14. Genesis 14:18. Genesis 14. Alright. Genesis 14:18. All right. All right. All right. When he returned from defeating Chaldemar and the kings with him, and the kings of Sodom come out to meet him in the valley of Sheb, which is in the valley of the king. And King Melchizedek of Salem brought out bread and wine. He was a priest of Yah Most High. See, so he gonna be a priest at this Melchizedek, Amorite priest over Jerusalem, and Prophet Abraham gave him a little bit of the goodies that he had acquired when he defeated the folks that was, putting a hammer on them Amorites and so forth. Prophet Abraham showed his, worthiness of being in the land by helping them because he come from the Mesopotamia area where the Hamites lived and so forth. And then, went to Canaan, and Canaan was influenced by the serpent culture and so forth, the ones that didn't believe in Almighty Yah. And that was one of the reasons why Yah told us to destroy them and so forth. All right, so you see that this person, Melchizedek, believed in Yah. So it's about Yah worship, all right? And then when you go, man, to this Balaam, let's go to Balaam. That'll be Numbers 22. And then when you read its history, how did this guy, Balak, wanted to, a Moabite wanted to curse us when we come out of Egypt from the false god worship, going into the promised land, mean to be the priestly nation. Is that our kindred from uh, Prophet Abraham's nephew Lot? Their descendants were influenced by the Nephilim culture, the Amorite culture, and then how they didn't want us coming across their land, the same as Edom, who had integrated into the Nephilim disbelief culture and so forth, and then how they didn't want us to cross their land, and then how they had got Balak, Balaam to try to curse us, and then Balaam, believed in Almighty Yah, who told him that he couldn't curse us, and that and then turn everything into a blessing, and that how he believed in Almighty Yah, but he wasn't the Israelite. You see what I'm saying? He wasn't the Israelite. All right. So it's about the belief in Yah. Look, Balak, son of Zippor, saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites. Moab was alarmed because that the people were so numerous. Moab dreaded the Israelites, and Moab said to the elders of Midian, now this hardy will lick clean all that is about us, and ox licks up the grass of the field. Balak, son of Zippor, who was king of Moab at the time, sent messengers to Balaam, son of Beor in Pithro, which is by the Euphrates, in the land of his kinsfolks, to invite him, saying, there is a people that come out of Egypt. It hides the earth from Ver, and it is settled next to me. Come then, put a curse upon the people for me, since they are too numerous for me. Perhaps I can thus defeat them and drive them out of the land. For I know that he whom ye bless is blessed indeed, and he whom ye curse is cursed. The elders of Moab and the elders of Midian, verse and divination, set out. They came to Balaam and gave him Balak's message, and he said to them, spend the night here, and I will reply to you. I will reply to you. Let me see. All right. And he said, spend the night here, and I shall reply to you. And the Elohim may instruct me. So the Moabite dignitary stayed with Balaam. Yah come to Balaam and said, what do these people want of you? And Balaam said to Yah, Balak, son of Zippor, king of Moab, sent me this message. Here is a people that come out of Egypt and hides the earth from Ver. Come and curse them for me, and perhaps I can engage them in battle and drive them out. Well, Yah said to Balaam, do not. do not curse them. You must not curse that people, for they are blessed. And Balaam arose in the morning and said to Balak dignitaries, Go men to your own country, for the Elohim will not let me go with you. The Moabite dignitaries left, and they come back to Balak and said, Balaam refused to come with us. Then Balak sent other dignitaries, more numerous and distinguished than the first. They came to Balaam and said to him, This said Balak, son of Zippor, please do not refuse to come to me. I will reward you richly, and I will do anything you ask of me. Only come and damn the people for me. And Balaam replied to Balak, official, though Balak were to give me his house full of silver and gold, I could not do anything big or little, contrary to the command of the Elohim my Yah. See, the Elohim my Yah, and he wasn't an Israelite. You know what I'm saying? And he worshiped the Creator just like Melchizedek did, just like Abraham did. So that's what it's about. So if you on any other religions or believe in any other entity, man besides uh, uh man the Creator, you in trouble. You know what I'm saying? That's like some Israelites think that a God soon come to save us from your sins and so forth. And then let me show you real quick how that's false information. You know what I'm saying? Man, if you go to Deuteronomy 24, let's do Deuteronomy 24:16. Deuteronomy 24:16, and see what it say. 24:16. All right, parents shall not be put to death for children, nor children be put to death for parents. A person shall be put to death only for his own crime and sin. So we know that you can only be put to death for your own sins, and can't nobody come and die for you, and that the Creator be contradicting, you know, everything He ever told us. If somebody can come die for your sins, as this religion teach, you know, it's the worst one out of all of them that come off our broken covenant, because it misleads the Israelites into thinking that salvation can come to us other than us, you know, believing in Almighty Yah. You know, if you go to Ezekiel 18, and that should be about 18:20. Let's see what it say. Look. The person who sins, he alone shall die. A child shall not bear the burden of a parent's guilt, nor shall a parent share the burden of a child's guilt. The righteous of the righteous shall be accounted to him alone, and the wickedness of the wickedness shall be accounted to him alone. Moreover, if the wicked one repents of all the sins that he, you know, so yeah, man, so only, you know, uh, 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 the wicked gonna die for himself, and that can't nobody die for you. Let's go to Ezekiel 14, and let's see what it say. All right, let's go to 14:14. All right, man, and it says, the word of Elohim came to me, O mortal man, if a land were to sin against me and commit trespass, and I stretched out my hand against it and broke it with the staff of bread, and sent famine against it, and cut off men and beasts from it, even if these three men, Noah, Daniel, and Job, should be in it, they would by their righteousness save only themselves, declared the Elohim. So, man, you can only You can only, die for your own sin. The Creator said that if Noah, Daniel, and Job was in the land, that no God's son can come save nobody from their sins. Nobody. Zero. So the peoples that created this religion off of our broken covenant man got you peoples in some real serious trouble, because he got you thinking, man, that you can be saved just by believing in a God's son with no merit. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, because just believing in him and not believing in the Yah that Abraham believed in. You can't believe in both of them. One got to be more powerful than the other. And believing in the son, it lessens the father. So if you believing in the father and him only, then you believe in the way that Abraham believed. All right. So then let's go to Second Kings, Second Kings, Second Kings 14:16. So man, we didn't write this history for nothing. And we wouldn't tell our people, knowing that it's a God's son coming to save us, that everybody can only die for their own sins, ain't making no sense. Alright, look. But the children, 2 Kings 14:6. But the children of the murderers he slew not, according unto that which is written in the book of the law of Moses, wherein the Elohim commanded, saying, the father shall not be put to death for the children, nor the children be put to death for the fathers, but every man shall be put to death for his own sin. So, right there, man, it's a wrap. So these Abrahamic religions, it is not good if you believe in them, because they taking you away from the way that Prophet Abraham believed, and he just believed in Yah and didn't have to have all that other ingredients and so forth. And that's supposed to be the way that the Israelites supposed to be in the end, under this new covenant that's going to be given us, where we will believe just like our father Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob did, where it'll be in our heart. See, go to Jeremiah, go to the book of Jeremiah, and then go to chapter 31. Chapter 31, verse 31. All right. Behold, the days come, saith the Elohim, that I will make a new covenant. Look, a new covenant. So I mean the old one is broken and gone. That I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, said the Elohim. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, said the Elohim. I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their heart, and they shall be my people, and I will be their Yah, and they shall be my people, and they shall teach no more. See, because it's going to be like Prophet Abraham, where it'll be in your heart. He didn't need all those rituals and all those things that we was given to worship when we come out of Egypt, that will make the covenant that the Creator prescribed for us. Like I said, after that covenant was broken and the Levite order broken up and we driven off the land, that was the end of the old covenant, and then that's when these religions come about. Those religions come about then. And those religions been a plague on humanity ever since we Israelites broke the covenant. See, if we Israelites would have had did right, then we'd have been a priestly nation to the Creator like He wanted. But being that we didn't do right, then we allowed those religions to come take place. Look, Exodus Exodus 19:6, and ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests in a holy nation. These were the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. So that was our job, and all the nations will come to us to get the understanding of the Creator. But because we failed our mission and got to regroup, these religions were put in place to hold the people up until we come into our heritage, and then they see truth, and then that'll be the end of those religions. And like I say, that's one of the reasons why they don't want us to come into heritage, because you got billions and billions of dollars at stake, and a lot of people's done built their wealth off these deceptive religions and so forth. So they gon' try to hold the Israelite heritage up as best they can. But the Creator is more powerful, and we shall be free one day to worship Him like He wants us to. Message from the Israelite Brotherhood. I pray everybody doing all right.